Hello and welcome to Jtimes, where we uncover the Kabbalah take on Jewish issues and current events. With me, as usual, is Dr. Michael Laitman. Hello, Dr. Laitman.
Hello.
And we are continuing our ongoing discussion about integral education and the importance of it and the meaning of being integral, being integrated together as a single family in today's world. Although we're not a good family yet, we're working on being one, and the integral education is the method that gives us the principles by which we can become functional as a good and loving family in a world where everyone is interdependent. So, Dr. Laitman, in our last show, we were talking about integral education being for everyone, children and adults, but we focused on children. We said that this should be the beginning of the school day. They have an hour and a half. They begin the school day this way.
I'd even recommend, not in every school, maybe if it's hard or something, but integral education, it's in addition to the educational system, to the, more correctly put, schooling system, that the knowledge that children get at school. So you can get it at home, on television like now, or through other media lines like the internet and so on. And this is how he can get these lessons, or he can go to the JCC and you can organize it there. You can organize it everywhere. The only problem with the integral education is that you have to participate with others, meaning that if he has no choice and he lives far away from all the children with whom he can organize this kind of activity, then he can watch demonstration lesson and participate that way, that he watches it and as if he is among them, where there's a group that does these different things. They get the lesson. We said that the first half of the lesson is the explanation and the other half are the activities, the workshop. So he looks at that group and as if is together with them on that activity.
Okay. And
also the grown-ups, the same with them.
Yeah, that was my next question. Because they don't go to school.
Right.
Their only option is really...
For them, it's either this way or also to organize it at the JCC or someplace, this kind of a circle, and then to get there, the integral education.
In today's world, the key word perhaps is competition. Where everyone, well, you know what I mean, everyone is trying to outrace the other, or, we're all trying to topple over each other to the top, of the pile, really just to survive. That's basically the struggle today. It's just a matter of survival. And it seems like integral education is offering a completely different paradigm than the paradigm of competition, right?
As a result of the competition, we have reached a state where life is truly unbearable, very hard.
I think a lot of people recognize that already. But how do we... Two questions, really. First, how do we shift from one paradigm to another? And until we shift, how do we live in both paradigms together?
It becomes very easy. It becomes very easy. First of all, without thinking too much, we simply have to read and learn and see, watch on the internet or through the media lines on television. What's going on? What does it mean, an integral world that we're a part of? We have no choice. We must accept its program. We have to know what is that world that we're going into. We're living here. We're already there. The integral world is already unraveling, that we're interconnected and we can't escape each other. So we have to know the laws of this integral world. So let's get to know them. It's not that now we'll learn and maybe later on we'll get into something abstract. It's here and now. It's present. We all in all study the laws of this current existing world. Now that we're getting explanations on the integral education about about man's nature, the nature of the world, behavior, and so on, we're really learning concrete laws under which we are right now that are influencing on us, working on us. We're not changing anything. On the contrary, we're opening up our eyes. We're starting to see how clear this world becomes to us. We start understanding, where did the crisis come from? Why all these problems? Why are things happening in the world the way they are? Why is the educational system, the culture, drugs are what they are, terrorism, divorce? Why is everything happening the way it is? I start understanding what are the reasons for these things. I start seeing how through the connection between us, we truly get rid of all these problems
So that's all
easily and naturally.
but that's all still on the intellectual level or informational level.
And that's enough. It's enough. You don't have to change anything.
No, but we were talking about the workshops last time.
Yeah, but this means that we're only studying. We're not changing life. When I study, I'm still not going to change neither the industry, nor commerce, nor the banking system or financial system, my relations in the family, nothing. Only
Right, but
on the inside, I change.
that's
And
the
that's
thing.
it.
By reading all that, I'm beginning to build within me a different system of values,
Right.
which is in contrast with the outside world.
No, not in contrast. No. Then you become more fit for the world we have today, and the other people are in contrast, and therefore they'll feel a crisis and you'll feel comfortable.
Okay, so let me put it differently. So I'm developing a value system that's in sync with reality today, but in dissonance with other people.
I don't think that you really feel, or they'll feel the dissonance. They'll feel you more conveniently. They'll feel you more friendly, more larger.
And how will I feel them?
With them,
Yeah.
you'll forgive them. You'll understand that they still did not come to the understanding of life through integral education like you have. They don't see the system that interconnects everyone. You'll be more successful. You'll be calmer, healthier.
Some years ago, I worked in a high-tech company. And although there's a whole lot of emphasis on outings together and having fun, and they had these end of the week, not parties, but get together, not in the evening, even during work hours and everything, and everyone were smiling. Even so, the atmosphere was terrible. There was constant tension. There was constant mistrust.
They didn't make coaching connection between everyone, connect them.
They were trying to do it, yes, but it wasn't working. There was this underlying kind of undercurrent. I wouldn't even call it competition. I would it's something bad.
Yeah, it's misunderstanding, lack of understanding, the general lack of atmosphere of spirit.
Lack of spirit of collaboration, of desire to help one another. There was just spite. I remember when I first got into the company, I was afraid to ask questions. I didn't know the system. There's a whole lot of things you need to learn in the beginning. I was afraid to ask questions, showing that I didn't know how the system worked. I was just there for 2 weeks or a week. Obviously, I didn't know the whole thing. Still, I was afraid to ask questions already, which means I couldn't become a good worker because it took me longer to study the system. But that was the whole atmosphere. So, assuming I become a more integral person, having learned all that, how do I now begin to work in such an environment? How do I begin to function in such an environment?
Suppose you're in this kind of a company and you undergo integral education. They start feeling on you that you're becoming friendly toward everyone.
And then what?
It's good to be with you. They feel that it's better to be with you.
So they will also treat me, they'll reciprocate it?
To some extent, yes. Because a person who treats you nicely, you can't resist him. You're as if you start being with him and according to how he is with you. Only it's very hard for them to be soft. They don't know and don't understand why, what for, because they didn't get any education about it. They see no benefit in it. They're in constantly defending themselves.
Yeah, constantly defensive.
Yeah, that's how it is everywhere. And here, you're becoming something illuminating, something that you convey warmth, softness, connection, consideration. And by that, even if you create some kind of a dissonance in that company, in that environment, but on the other hand, they start seeing how pleasant it is, how good and beneficial it could be, how if all of us were that way, how easy it would be to work. They can do much more. They can reach greater achievements if they will be connected, and not that each one will sit separately, do only what he has to do, not caring about others, and all the more I'll succeed and they'll fail. It's even better. No. Such people that will undergo integral education, they'll be very needed everywhere. They'll be really wanted because there's a kind of a illumination around them, kind of a bestowal that spreads and eases life altogether for everyone. And therefore, I'm sure that those people that will have a study with us on a course, they'll be real successful in their environment and also themselves. Also at home, in the family, everywhere. Anything that such a person touches, he'll succeed in it. That's for sure. He also has the inner forces of nature. We barely talked about it, but he starts discovering out of his connection with others. He starts discovering that very inner force that exists in nature. That this force arranges and organizes everything, leads us forward, sets our destiny. This force, he starts being together with that person. A person starts feeling in advance. He has this pre-feeling of what's going to happen, how is it going to be. He is going there before everyone.
You're talking about God.
Because he identifies...
Going back to the previous question about equality,
I remember that in the Gemara it says that two people are standing.
Looking over Jerusalem.
Yeah, right.
Yes. I own this, I own that.
He says, I have firewood,
Yes.
meaning for 3 years to warm up the whole city. It's a great asset. Meaning they were very rich people, but along with it, it did not, they weren't respected for it in a special way. If there was someone next to them poor, but knowledgeable, who understands the inner force of nature, the whole system, so-called the Torah, this entire system is called the Torah, then of course he would have been appreciated more than them.
Those two, by the way,
The rich person would have respected him more too. That's a part of our education.
those two were from the Sanhedrin.
Yeah.
So where is the equality? What does equality mean in that sense?
No. Here what it means is that we have to reach a state that all the world will have an equal standard of living.
Okay.
Meaning that there will be no one who's lacking something.
So we're not talking about equality having the same for everyone?
No. But the concern for everyone, or for everyone to have all they need or not to lack anything. And the Jews, they lived this way throughout all the years. Our social systems were working all through history. In the medieval ages and ancient Israel, they were always concerned. They took care of marrying the daughters, so there will be so no daughter will be left without a family. They took care of the elderly. They took care of the poor, the handicapped, and there were plenty of systems, and it says all that in the Torah.
So we're not talking about limits.
And this is something that we have to do worldwide now. But besides that, there has to be the interconnection between people. This is what's missing in the world today, and neither do the Jews or the nations of the world have that.
So the equality is something internal, not external?
Those that, when a person starts engaging in unification, and he sees that through unity he reaches a different level of existence and reality, that he starts feeling the inner force of nature, he starts feeling the spiritual world, so he invests less in this world. He invests enough in order to live a normal life, to have enough of everything for him, for the kids, but not that all life long he does in order to, gain more and more and more. His benefit, he sees it. The emphasis is in spiritual advancement. Inside society, when he becomes connected with it, he starts seeing his true benefit there. He starts seeing the next world, his next world there. There he starts feeling his soul, that there he feels an eternal life, perfection. And that is what appeals to him, because that is truly something great. Because money, today you have it, tomorrow you don't. He shifts the main value onto internality. And not that he lets go of this life, he leaves it, but nonetheless he enters deeper and deeper into the inner life, the integral connection, because there he finds the fulfillment.
Well, if he's going to become like God, then that sounds pretty fulfilling.
Yes. It's not only fulfilling, it also covers him in this world perfectly. He will never lack anything. Such people really have everything.
Okay, our time is almost up. I just want to see if I can summarize what we've been through, because we've been through a lot in this show. We first of all talked about integral education being for everyone, and that the probably preferred avenue for learning would be the media, like the TV and the internet, because it's the most accessible, right? Whereas for children it can be the beginning of the school day, but everyone should have it available on TV and internet. That's one. And then two, we were talking about integral education being in sync with I would say the direction of creation, of nature, right? Where the goal is to become godlike, to become like the creator, right? Which is the metaphors that includes everything in nature. And finally, we were talking about equality. And here you kind of lost me, really, because we moved into talking about it on a deeper level, where it really means a person's ability to obtain that integralness.
Yes, that's the main thing, and that is what fulfills the person. And the corporeal form will always be there for him, whatever he needs, and if he wants more, then no problem. It's not the end.
I see. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Laitman, for a very enlightening conversation. We will certainly continue more on that in our next shows. And until then, all the best, and thank you for being with us.